major news today, and that is that Israel is fully now going in. Israel is fully going in. They are fully committing into Gaza City, and they want to take it all. They want to take it all. Let's take a little look at that, man. Sounds like they're going pretty deep here. Let's take a look.
Israel's assault on Gaza City in recent weeks has been notable for the way it has targeted and demolished tower blocks. This video was filmed today, the latest in a series.
The first thing coming to mind is this fighting Hamas? Is taking down this building helping against Hamas? I don't know, man.
Of strike seemingly designed to bring the buildings to the ground. Israel says it
They're trying to make the land easier to develop, man.
issues warnings to evacuate the area before striking. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, I beg your pardon, was asked why his armed forces were turning to this tactic.
We're not bringing down those towers to intimidate people. Those towers are serving as Hamas strongholds. But what we're doing is we're telling the...
It would have been better to say there are good shooting positions or something. But that rotten little building is a Hamas stronghold? I don't know, man.
population, because we're going to take over and destroy the Hamas stronghold. They're one of the last two strongholds and the most important one that Hamas has left in the Gaza Strip. We ask you to leave. And what is Hamas doing? They're asking them to stay because they want to use them as human shields, as they've done from the beginning of the war.
Well, let's speak now to Tess Ingram, a spokesperson for UNICEF, who's in Al-Mawasi, where many Palestinians leaving Gaza City have travelled to. And
Wait, Robert Redford just died? Fuck off. Don't put shit like that into the fucking stream. He just died? Oh, he just died. That literally happened 5 minutes ago. Oh no. TommyKay News, Robert Redford is dead, bro. Oh no. He has such a good movie, man. There's the movie where they don't speak a single word. He's alone on the ocean. That was a great movie, man. I love that movie. You guys gotta watch that, man. It's a movie where he's alone on the ocean and he never says a word. It's super sick. Damn. F in the chat, Robert. Robert Redford is dead. God damn. Died today. How old did he go? He was old. Good life. Good life. Did he have children? Yeah, man. Good life, man. Good life. How old is that? I don't know how old that is. I'm too dumb for that. GG. They didn't even add death yet. It's not fresh enough yet. 89 years old, man. That's good, man. F in the chat for Robert Redford, man. 1946 must be her full reference.
BBC News. And Israel describes Al-Mawasi as a safe zone. Explain for us, if you would, what conditions are like there.
It is not a safe zone. It is not a safe place for two reasons. One, because there are inadequate services and supplies here to sustain the current.
I always try to follow facts. And what often seems to be the case, it looks like it, Israel says this is a safe zone, but if you talk to people actually being there, it's not. If you actually talk to people, they're like, nah, it's not.
Population, let alone if hundreds of thousands more people come. And it's also not safe because, as we've seen continuously throughout this conflict, this so-called safe zone has come under attack, including about 2 weeks ago when at a water point 8 children were killed, the youngest 3 while just waiting to fill up jerry cans.
Fuck off.
The situation.
No way. What? One sec. Can I get information on that? Did Israel bomb water source killing 8 children? This is a bit worded weirdly. I just want him to find me an article. What Israel said, whatever, I don't care. Sky News. Children collecting water killed in a strike. Come on. I'm not gonna click that. A strike on a water distribution point in Nuseirat refugee camp killed 10 people, including 6 children, and left 17 wounded. The IDF said it intended to hit an Islamic Jihad militant, but there was a technical error, causing the missile to hit the wrong target. There's totally no genocide in Gaza. No, guys. Not at all. God damn, man. That fucking sucks. It was Hamas Prometheum. A technical error.
Here is, even knowing that, people are beginning to come to this area because they have no good options. It's becoming more crowded by the day on the streets of Mawassi here, and the families that I speak to are just despairing around how they're going to survive. I spent the day on the road today talking to people on the move, many people walking into the unknown, not knowing where they're going to set up and not having tents or other essential supplies
The point
to help
is,
them do so.
you know, I'm just always trying to be central, right? Okay, we have a war. In war, bad things happen. But in adult life, right, it's like if you make a mistake that kills fucking 8 children, you have to have consequences. And I think that's over the issue here a little bit in this scenario. I don't think there's any consequences. I think whoever made that error is going to be utterly fine, other than maybe sleeping at night.
And I've seen reports of people who have tents actually struggling to find a spot, a place to pitch those tents.
That's right, because it's so crowded, and we've really noticed a difference just in the last few days of more people setting up on the shoulders of roads or in places that look quite precarious because there's just not enough space. But on top of that, service delivery is a challenge. For example, water. People are walking a long way now.
If you want to know who the bad guys are, then blah, 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 blah. Maybe we could just be adults here and realize that both sides have bad guys and not just be so fucking childish and
Love
be like,
from Norway.
only one side is good, the other one is bad. It's really not very educated thinking, I think. Thank you, Alpha. Thank you, man.
To try and get access to safe water to drink, and UNICEF is doing what we can, trucking water further out to try and help those people, but the response needs to increase dramatically if it's going to meet the needs of this population increasing in a condensed area.
What else can UNICEF do at the moment? Describe that for us, given the conditions.
We are trying to serve people wherever they are. So we are still in Gaza City where, 800,000 people at least remain. And a famine has been confirmed. So we are determined to stay on the ground there and to try and support the families that remain there. On the road today, we're supporting families as they moved. We're trying to prevent children from getting separated by giving them identity bracelets with their parents' names and phone numbers. We're providing water and counselling services. And then when people get to Al Mawassi, we're there. We are trucking water. We're also providing nutrition support. We are doing everything that we can. But the story remains, this is not a safe place. Aid remains insufficient. And what people are being asked to do leaving Gaza City is really a death march for the most vulnerable.
And as much as people are arriving in Al Mawassi, are you also seeing people who arrive and then decide that they have no choice but to head back towards Gaza City?
I was in Gaza City some days ago, and I met with a family who had done exactly that, who had come down to Deir al-Balah in the middle area, turned around and gone back again because they said they couldn't find adequate space. The only space that they could find was up for rent for a very expensive fee. And so they decided to stay in Gaza City with their children, one of whom has malnutrition. And I think this is the case for so many families trying to decide what to do with a really terrible set of options.
Will it be very human to set up like a Dunkirk? Like, you fucking save these people? God, liberal Tommy, what a fucking piece of shit libtard. But I don't know, man. When I studied law, right? There's a law in Germany and most countries. If someone is hunted in their home country because they're gay, because of political affiliation, whatever, and gets killed there, they have the right to be a refugee, which most countries have, right? Isn't this a perfect example of that? To help these people? Nobody wants these people, though. It's a bit weird how the whole world is always acting so good and nice, but no one is helping these people.
And in terms of situations that you've dealt with before, Tess, what do you see as the
Israel doesn't let boats through. Why?
solution, the immediate solution here? Obviously,
Israel closing the border? Yeah, but I want to stay with the point that shouldn't we be morally a bit superior than Egypt?
there are efforts to try to get to an end to this conflict. We don't know, given what happened in Qatar last week, we don't know where mediation efforts will go from here.
Do you want these people in Germany? By German law, they are very, very much allowed here. Yes.
Desperate plight, both for ordinary Palestinians and for the hostages and their families. What do you see as the solution to all of this?
So, of course, a ceasefire remains the best solution. But
and by your thoughts, once again, I think this is polemic thinking. Should they all come to Germany? In a better world, you would argue that an international coalition should come together and help here a little bit. I mean, am I that weird here? Am I fucking crazy? These people are fucking, these are civilians suffering. Someone should fucking help. Just like they should have helped civilians when Israel got attacked, 100%. But the whole world is just watching. And then we shit on Greta Thunberg. Haha, fucking dumbass Greta. At least she does something. At least she's fucking trying something. Unlike us.
Feeling that international law is clear on what needs to happen here. We're not asking for miracles. We're asking for aid to be allowed into the Gaza Strip, that aid to reach people wherever they are, including Gaza City. We must not lose access to the north of Gaza City, but we also must scale up for the people coming to the south. And also, people must be protected wherever they are, whether they stay there or whether they leave. They must be protected under international law. Now, unfortunately, in this conflict, far too often, we're seeing complete disregard for those rules, for the provision of aid and the protection of civilians. But now, in this moment, we need to see that more than ever.
OK, Tess Ingram from UNICEF joining us from Al Mawasi.
Hello, I'm Karen Giannoni. We start this hour with breaking...
That kid was asleep, you monkey. Oh, come on.
News on the Israel-Gaza war. A United Nations investigation team says Israel has committed genocide against Palestinians in the Gaza Strip.
What? Really? But what's about all these people commenting on my Discord saying there is no one recognizing your genocide in Gaza? The people with the profile pictures of anime characters. What?
The Independent International Commission of Inquiry was established by the UN Human Rights Council in May 2021 and was led by the former Human Rights Commissioner Navich, who led the tribunal on Rwanda's genocide. The inquiry concluded Israel has committed 4 of the 5 genocidal acts defined under international law. The intentional...
Then again, UN is Hamas. The thing is, okay, we have conducted, like adults, there's a genocide. Next step, what the fuck you do about it? Who the fuck is going to do something about it?
Or killing of a group, deliberately inflicting conditions designed to destroy it, causing it serious physical or mental harm, or preventing births. The report also concludes Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, President Isaac Herzog, and former Defence Minister Yoav Gallant deliberately incited genocide. This is the first time a UN Commission of Inquiry has used the word genocide in relation to Gaza. The UN investigators also warned Israel's allies they must act to stop the killing or risk being complicit.
It's like the League of Nations again. No, we don't do shit about Putin, we don't do shit about this, we don't do fucking shit.
Israel has already responded to the report. A foreign ministry spokesperson called it a fake report, saying it relies entirely on Hamas falsehoods laundered and repeated by others. These fabrications have already been thoroughly debunked, including in an independent, in-depth academic study by BESA or the Begin Sadat Center for Strategic Studies.
Okay. I'm done eating, sorry. So the BESA, whatever the fuck, did an academic study. There's no way there is a thing. Okay. The Begin Sadat Center of Strategic Studies, titled Debunking the Genocide Allegations and Re-examination of the Israel-Hamas War. Begin Sadat Center for Strategic Studies. Please don't be in Israel, that'd be weird. It's in Israel, okay. Here's a summary. The authors Denny Orbach, Jonathan Boxman, Yagil Henkin, and Jonathan Braverman. The purpose is to assess if the accusations are real, if there is a genocide. Review of primary and secondary sources, statistically quantitative analysis, checking the reliability of data, Key findings. Starvation claims are based on questionable data, misquotation, circulation citation, and failure to verify sources. The report states aid deliveries into Gaza after 423 were sometimes higher than before the war.
Israel is not planning to stop doing what they are doing.
1 sec, I have so much sweat here. Okay. 1 sec. Almost there. Oh, I'm so tired. Okay. The share of Gaza's caloric intake coming from local agriculture has been overestimated. In many accounts, the studies estimate it was likely much lower than commonly claimed before the war. Okay. No evidence of starvation tactics. A widely circulated claim that Gaza requires 500 aid trucks per day is traced to a misquote on the UN Secretary General. UN records before the war show an average of 73 food trucks per day. Between October 23 and 2025, Israel actually allowed an average of 109 daily aid trucks. Although deliveries declined during the Rafah operation, they rebounded strongly during the March 2025 ceasefire. Okay, but during the operation, no one was allowed, resulting in a higher average food supply per day than before the war. Obviously, you have to trust your data, right? 44% of Gaza's caloric intake comes from local agriculture. The study finds the number is below 12%. Now, we don't know who to trust, though. That's the problem. While isolated incidents of potential negligence or misconduct occurred, the study finds no evidence of an organized policy or top-down directive to deliberately harm civilians. Well, we just heard about one single incident of a misguided rocket killing a bunch of kids, man. That generally fucking happened. There's no evidence of a systematic Israeli policy to target civilians, blah, 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 blah. The Gaza Ministry of Health casualty data is criticized, inclusion of combatants as civilians, etc. Israel, according to the study, employed measures intended to migrate civilian harm, such as warnings, precision strikes. Methodologies used by an agencies, international media, and others are under scrutiny. Interesting, though, this is one study against many others. The report argues there are a pattern of unverified estimates, circular sourcing, adequate correction. Okay, that's just a bunch of yapping no one can prove. It's deep shit, man. Deep shit. Deep shit. Less than 1.2% of casualties occurred in the Al-Mawazi and central camp zones, which Israel designated for civilian evacuation, contradicting claims of deliberate attacks on these. Still 1.2%. The study highlights a pattern of circular sourcing and blah, 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 blah. To further test the methods used by human rights groups and UN bodies, the researchers revisited the case of Iraq in the 1990s. During the US-led sanctions, global headlines claimed that hundreds of thousands of Iraqi children had died, which probably isn't true, citing data from Saddam Hussein's health ministry. However, after a fall of the regime, it emerged that the data were likely fabricated. The infant mortality surge had never occurred, yet even after the researcher who published the findings admitted she's been misled, the humanitarian ecosystem ignored this. Okay, unfortunately, I have to just take this for granted. This is obviously hard to check. The researchers coined the term humanitarian bias to describe the tendency of aid organizations to accept alarming data from interested parties in order to prevent perceived catastrophe. In such context, even fact-based rebuttals are painted as morally callous attempts to downplay suffering. Professor Orbach warns that this approach has dangerous consequences. But again, this is a professor in Israel, an Israeli. If every difficult urban war is labeled as genocide, we strip the terms of its moral and legal force. Genocide becomes just another political tool of empty meaning. In light of their findings, the team proposes a new methodology for this analysis rooted in transparency. I mean, you're not letting many people in, do you? Cross-verification and rigorous skepticism. They underscored that allegations of war crimes must be taken seriously and investigated thoroughly, however facts, non-slogan, blah, 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 blah. Thank you, Dutch Mapping. Now you have two sides, right? You have two sides, but certain things that affect is like rockets hitting fucking children and stuff like that.
Studies which refuted every single...
Transparency, but no journalists allowed in Gaza. I'm very uneducated about this. In the ongoing conflict in Gaza, does Israel allow foreign journalists and the other thing, what do you call them? And observers in the region to move freely? I mean, it's a war. You can't really make them move free. No. According to recent reports, foreign journalists do not have free independent movement in Gaza. Under the current conflict, the Israeli government imposed significant restrictions. Here's a summary of what they do. Entry restrictions, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, that goes a bit against what the study is proposing for more transparency, man.
False claim regarding genocide.
Let me do something. Definition of genocide. The UN has like this four things. It's different definitions. Any of the following acts committed, this is United Nations, which everybody signed for, I think. killing members of a group, causing serious bodily harm or mental health to members of this group, which is kind of happening, but it's happening in every war. Deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about physical destruction, whole and part. Not allowing shipments and stuff like that. No boats are allowed. Imposing measures intended to prevent birth within the group. Probably not that. It's probably hard to fuck right now in Gaza. Forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. I don't think that's happening, but... You skipped the intention part. What? What? I skipped the intention part? What? Skip the intention part. What? 2 out of 5. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. Let's keep going.
Aside, Besser is an Israeli think tank. The statement ends by saying Israel categorically rejects this distorted and false report and calls for the immediate abolition of this commission of inquiry.
It's a bit far, man. Asking for the abolition of a UN commission, man?
Well, the UN report comes as Israel heavily bombed Gaza City overnight, with Israel's Defense Minister Israel Katz saying Gaza is burning. We're getting unconfirmed reports from the US news site Axios and the Jerusalem Post that the military has now launched its ground offensive to occupy the entire city. Israeli strikes are also reported in central Gaza in the
I feel like, from my perspective, that it's not ultra-educated and sophisticated. The data looks like this. There's lots of war crimes and lots of genocide. Hamas did the same for Israel.
Direction in which thousands of people are...
I feel like the point is just to just acknowledge that. You can still be pro-Israel. I think Israel is doing the right thing. But I feel like it's always a very adult and just human to be like, yeah, man, I'm pro-Israel, but they're going a bit far, aren't they? Like, I think that's just the first point we should reach. These people on Twitter and Reddit just going like, they're doing nothing wrong, everything's perfect. That seems not very thoughtful.
Fleeing. Palestinian officials say there are rising numbers of deaths and injuries. The intensification began hours after Secretary of State Marco Rubio assured Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of unwavering US support during a trip to Jerusalem.
Wow, that looks pretty insane, huh?
Well, we'll be talking to our correspondents around the region. Let's discuss this more with our Geneva correspondent Imogen Folks, Yolande Nell, our Middle East
No one's good. Well, I agree, yeah, no one is good. I just would like to maybe reach the first point of human dialogue, of just being like, hey, this is not cool. You know, like the first point.
And Rushdie Abu Alouf, our Gaza correspondent. But to you, Imogen, first, just take us through the report's findings.
Well, what this report does
Your chat is
go
smart, admit
over
it.
many
What? No hate, ban. No, I just, when I do politics, I don't want any retards. If you talk like this, you must be retarded.
reports of
No hate,
individual
I just don't want any
aspects
fucking
of the
retards.
conflict in Gaza that these 3 international lawyers led by Navich have already looked at since October the 7th. So they look at the attacks on children. They look at
These lawyers should be very
conditions
careful
in
when they drink tea now in a
detention.
restaurant.
They look at the destruction, particularly of hospitals and places of education, and they look at the statements by Israeli leaders about their intentions, apparently, in Gaza. And they put that through a very forensic analysis. What is the legal definition
That was
of
a white guy,
genocide?
like a
And
blonde
they
white
come,
guy.
as you said in your introduction there, to the conclusion that 4 of the 5 criteria have been met, if you like.
I don't think
And
it's a
that
genocide. I
has
just
to
think
do
it's a lot of war crimes and they should be punished for that. If they were trying to genocide the Palestinians, they'd be killing a hell of a lot of more. I don't know, man. Nowadays, you can't trigger the world too much. You have to do it slowly. You can't just go too insane. Like, Putin can't just throw a nuke on Kiev. You can't go too far.
with the intentional killing or destruction of a group.
I'm playing your mod
not the
tomorrow,
whole of
World
the
War
group,
Bra
the Genocide
tomorrow.
Convention
I'm
says
playing
in
World
whole
War
or
Bra
in
tomorrow.
part, through measures such as the denial of food and water, the destruction of homes, the fact that people in Gaza cannot leave even though their homes are destroyed, they're being displaced from place to place. So those are the findings. Very legal, no one.
That's a fucking terrible picture, man. I often think we lost a shit ton of fucking humanity. We're watching this scene and feel nothing anymore. That's also something we should think about a bit. Gucci. That's a fucking terrible fucking picture, man. Whether you like him or not, bro. I think that's what I always kind of want to achieve. That we go back to the groundwork. That's just not cool, man. You know.
I would say disputes the right of Israel to defend itself against the kind of terrible terrorist attack.
You can criticize both sides, however, the scales are not equal. One side is getting genocided and has been living in apartheid for 100 years. And who are we to dictate how they resist the totality of harm? Well, we can dictate that the invasion on October 7th was not very cool, man. We can say that. Today we have talked about ending of apartheid in South Africa. We do not speak on the crimes committed by the resistance. Okay.
That took place on October 7th, 2023. The conclusion of this report is that this is not self-defense. The conclusion is that this is actually genocide.
Imogen, for the moment, thank you. Imogen, you've been speaking to Navi Pillay, who...
The problem I see is always, who cares what it's defined as? Israel said it's not, they say this. What is the final consequence of that? What is the consequences? Sanctions? Netanyahu can't land in Brussels, he will get into custody? Like, what are the real consequences of that?
Investigation. And Imogen asked her how her team, which has already produced numerous reports outlining war crimes in Gaza, came to that specific conclusion of genocide.
It took 2 years to reach this conclusion. Our mandate...
It would be nice to have like a YouTuber debate between these 4 lawyers and the study from the Israelis. See them debate live.
Requires us to share this information with judicial bodies, such as the ICC, such as states holding national prosecution. It's not only that, we would not put anything there that we are not satisfied with. It's easy to proclaim the outcome, genocide is happening. We went to the facts first. The facts must tell us that yes, there's the intention. So we looked at statements made by the Israeli authorities indicating genocidal intent, and we looked at the pattern.
What statements? I would like to hear them.
Of conduct of Israeli authorities and Israeli security forces to show that genocidal intent was the only reasonable inference. That test, that it must be the only reasonable inference, is what was set by the ICJ in the Bosnia case. So the acts were killing and causing bodily harm and mental harm, destruction of cultural, religious, and educational structures, and Bosnia case.
One more time.
So the...
Can anyone find me like a link where what these UN lawyers found out? What exactly did the leadership of Israel say that indicates it? I'm genuinely interested. Can anyone find that?
Acts were killing and causing bodily harm and mental harm, destruction of cultural, religious, and educational structures and facilities, the siege, starvation, and the blocking of humanitarian aid, destruction of the healthcare system, sexual and gender-based violence, direct targeting of children. So all that's been covered. And that's when we conclude that it's genocide. And that's why we only produce this report.
I would like you to debate you, Tommy. I don't know you, man. I've never seen you before. You're not even a sub. I only debate people that pay me.
No.
I don't fucking know you, bro.
And that's Navi Pillay, who is heading that commission, produced this report. Let's talk to our Gaza correspondent.
They just claim it without giving proof. Well, no. You probably have to do your own work there and find it. Thank you so much. What is this? Did you find it? My PC's lagging. Mossad? Without giving proof is fucking bullshit. What we're looking for? I want to know what they said. This is what they stand for. This is the members. How they document stuff. Oh, this is big, man. What are we looking? Press releases. Statements. Statement by Navi Pillay, Chair of Commission of Inquiry of the Occupied Palestine Territory, including East... What statement? Am I too dumb right now? What is the statement? Do I have to click on it? I'm not gonna read all this. Fuck that. I don't know what I'm looking at. I am too dumb. Josh, am I not playing Japan with you tomorrow? I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm too dumb. One sec. I don't get it. I don't care about press releases, do I? I'm looking for these statements. Explain that to me. I'm too dumb. What did you send me here? Where are the statements that I'm looking for? You're the chef guy, yeah, you're not a football. Also a non-stop, you piece of shit.
Abu Alouf, who is in Istanbul. And Rushdie, this report comes as it appears that Israel is beginning a ground offensive in Gaza City.
Well, there is no sign of any time.
Wouldn't it be clever for Hamas to surrender? To, like, make Israel come out of the woodwork? If Israel just says we fully and utterly surrender, and that would be a good move to A, save Gaza lives, and to be like, so what you gonna do now, Israel? You're gonna stop this shit? Would be fucking clever.
This movement over up all night trying.
But Gaza, Hamas is unfortunately, I'm not gonna say. I was about to make a bad joke. I didn't do it.
Any...
Yeah, what I don't get it. Legal answer of conduct, blah, 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 blah. Oh my god, here we go. That's a real source, man. I'm looking for the statements. Whoa. Can you guys do your job and find it for me and tell me it's on the BC? I'm too fucking autistic for this. Where is the statements? That interests me right now. It's in 1V, 1V, legal framework, here, state actors, page number 51. Okay, super interesting. So yeah, there was a guy in chat who said, these guys never give proof. Well, they're giving a lot of proof. That was not a good comment. This is interesting. I'm interested. I want to just read. I'm just interested. I'm not trying... 162. To analyze the genocide intent of Israel authorities, the commission refers both to statements made by members of the Israeli government, direct evidence of dora specialis, and the pattern of conduct of the Israel authorities and Israel security forces, including during military raids, blah, 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 blah. As early as 7 of October 2023, Israeli officials made statements that indicated their intention to destroy Palestine in Gaza as a group. Palestinians were consistently dehumanized. Furthermore, Israeli authorities made many statements. Okay, now let's give us these statements. They made many statements. The commission believes, having analyzed the military operations, these statements were expressed to encourage hatred. Where are the statements? The commission has recorded these statements. Okay, let's hear it, including of the president, prime minister, etc. Okay. Other politicians. So this is who did it. Their words shaped the narrative. Israeli political and military leaders have consistently described the military operation Gaza as self-defense and just war. Israeli political and military leaders also repeatedly stated that the attack on 7 of October 2023 presented... Dude, that was actually 2 years ago? What? Presented an extensional threat to Israel, blah, 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 blah. Okay, where are the statements? The commission has documented these messages. Several statements by Israeli officials advocated for collective punishment. Okay, they will probably do it in a second. Here it goes. Oh, now it's getting interesting. Okay. So what we're doing right now is we have to talk a bit about what we're doing. A lot of you guys are uneducated fucking retards. So we're now looking at what the UN lawyers, we're going very specific here. There's a lot in this paper. We're now looking at, they are claiming, here's the claim, official government members of Israel used speech that will incite genocide. We're now looking if that is true. We're looking actually at a source. Unlike someone like Asmongold, we're being the centrist of Twitch. Let's take a look. On October 9th, 2023, Israel's then Defense Minister Yoav Gallant announced the complete siege of Gaza, claiming that Israel was fighting human animals, and Israel must act accordingly. On 10th of October, you could argue in a court of law that human animals is directed to Hamas and not to Palestinians. I want to think a bit like a lawyer here. On 10th of October 2023, in a speech to Israel Security Force personnel, Gallant stated, Gaza won't return to what it was before. There will be no Hamas. We will eliminate everything. If it doesn't take 1 day, it will take a week, it will take months. Not cool, but I think in a court in Brussels, they could argue he is targeting these words towards Hamas. President Isaac Herzog says, it's an entire nation out there that is responsible. It is not true. This rhetoric about civilians who are not aware, not involved, it's absolutely not. That's a bit harsh. Brigadier General David Bar Khalifa, commander of the... Man, these people did a good job. They actually did like an adult job here. Commander of the 36th Armored Division invoked divine intervention in a call for his soldiers to be guided by general vengeance in the military operation. In a handwritten letter to his soldiers, he says, what has been, will be no more. We shall go out to it, the enemy, in war. We shall pulverize every accursed plot of land from which it came. We shall destroy it and the memory of it. And we shall not return until it is annihilated. And God doth render vengeance to his adversaries and doth make expiation for the land of his people. The Lord will give us strength to this people. Yeah, that also sounds a bit like not so good. Prime Minister Netanyahu published a letter to the Israeli soldiers and commanders. This was actually 2 years ago already. Isn't that crazy? This is a war between the sons of light and the sons of darkness. We constantly remember the sites of the horrific massacre on the Simchat Torah Shabbat of October 7, 2023. The descendants of Amalek, the Amalekites, were enemies of Israel in the Hebrew Bible. In the book of Samuel, God tells the Israelis, now go and attack Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have. That's very genocidal talk in the Bible. Do not spare them, but kill both man, woman, child, and infant, sheep, ox, camel, and donkey. He is quoting that line from the Hebrew Bible. That is not good. Kill every child, man, not good. The commission notes that in invoking Amalek in his speech, Netanyahu strengthened the idea that Israel's war in Gaza is akin to a holy war of total annihilation. This will be familiar to and compelling for many thousands of Israeli military personnel who are religious Zionists, especially for those in military units whose personnel are wholly and predominantly ultra-Orthodox. Indeed, such sentiment was referred to by many following the statement of Netanyahu, including the Israeli finance minister, etc., yelling and chanting direct references. Okay, well, that is... What do you guys think? What do you think? The question is right now, did officials did Israeli officials use speech of genocidal intention? And this looks like good proof. Colonel Erez Eshel, a senior Israeli security force officer interviewed for an Israeli news channel from Beit Lahia, said, vengeance is a great value. There is vengeance for what they did to us. In 100 years, they will know that you don't mess with the Jews. It will take many years to revive from this blow. This place will be a fallow land. They will not be able to live there anymore. That's not... Again, I feel like a lawyer could argue he is targeting Hamas here with this speech. Obviously, it's a bit different. If the president quotes the Hebrew Bible and he chooses to quote, kill both man, woman, child, and infant. But that one I think is defendable in court. But I'm just a fucking yapper. A video published on X showed soldiers from the Benjamin Brigade dancing and singing, let your villages burn. An Israeli security forces spokesperson responds to this incident saying the conduct of the soldiers is not consistent with the idea of orders and its values. The question is that they had consequences, right? That's interesting. The incident will be investigated and dealt with accordingly. On 4th of January 24, a video published on X depicted an Israeli security forces soldier with a Torah scroll in his hand stating, we are now in the ruins of Gaza with the grace of God. These Nazis will pay the price for what they did. But that's not a government official. That's a soldier. And the country of Israel, we will destroy Hamas. Do you see this burned house? Every house here will burn. Every house has an RPG. They will pay for what they did, blah, blah, blah. The commission is not aware that any disciplinary actions were undertaken. That's the interesting point. The soldiers doing that is not per se with what we're looking at here. We're looking at officials of the government. But if it's actually true in Source 400 that there was no disciplinary actions, that's also very fucked up. August 2025, this is just recently, man, 1 month ago. A recording of former head of Israel's military intelligence who stepped down from his position in 2024 was published by Israel media, but he was already stepped back, so he's not a government official, right? He stated that the fact that 50,000 have already been killed in Gaza is necessary and required for future generations. He added that for every Israeli killed, 50 Palestinians shall die. That's genocidal talk, in my opinion. This has nothing to do with, this is in very deep law, right? If this ever goes to Brussels, this is very high IQ shit, man. That's obviously aimed at Palestinians, a group of people, and not Hamas, an organization. And so on and so on. So, long story short, what did we want to do here? We wanted to... There was a guy in chat saying these people have no proof. I mean, these people do a pretty great job, something you could never do, and I could never do. And in this specific point we're looking at the moment, man, what's the likelihood of this being hearsay? Hearsay? What? What are you talking about? That video was live on X. How's that hearsay? That I don't understand. I think you're just memeing. We looked at the point. They're stating government officials used genocidal speech. What do you think, chat? Yes or no? Did they? I think they did. Again, I feel like Who cares? There's no consequences. But the President Netanyahu himself choosing in a letter to his soldiers to quote that line, that every woman and child shall die. It's a very weird decision, man. Very weird decision. Thank you, Comment Bugs Bunny. Thank you. Why even questioned? I want to try to be centrist. I want to be a counter to something like Asmongold. I want to look at stuff. And this is a little bad. From the Torah, which I think they call the Hebrew Bible. No? I'm going to get fucking airstriked. Very interesting, man. If you actually care about Israel and Gaza, man, this is very interesting stuff here. Again, I have all these kids always texting me, there is no genocide. I mean, this is people that actually have a brain and not 12-year-old Reddit people. But again, we can't look at it all, but this little excerpt was interesting. Interesting.
Information about the tanks are advancing more. I mean, it's just misleading what the people are saying, because Gaza City is already 60% of it is under occupation, and the tanks are working in 3 different axes in Gaza. If we see like a neighborhood called Sheikh Ridwan, it's one of the biggest neighborhoods. It's in the heart of Gaza City, where Israel is working in this neighborhood for a very long time, pushing all of the people inside the neighborhood to flee south, and some of them are fleeing to the west.
It's so interesting to see a white European talk about this other than an Asian Arab. What? What does that mean?
Of Gaza. What? If we see the Israeli working in Zaytun, Zaytun is the second biggest neighborhood in Gaza, and the tanks are there working for almost a month and a half in this place. And the third axe is northwest coastal road, and they are pushing hard towards the only refugee camp in Gaza, Shati refugee camp. They have bombed the camp day and night, and they destroyed most of the building in the camp. So they are already occupying over 60% of the Gaza city, and there is a small tiny bit of land.
Help me, I don't understand. So these people are driving south to the Egyptian border, but what is their goal? Isn't the border closed? Can you explain this to me? I have no idea about this stuff. They're driving south, but what is the goal? Look at the buildings. I don't think this is all Hamas, yeah. Where are they going? They hope Egypt will help them. They hope that they open. Someone sent me something? Genocidal statements.
אני אומר לתושבי עזה, צאו משם עכשיו, כי אנחנו נפעל בכל מקום.
So if you say, again, I'm just trying. You say leave now, but they're not allowed to leave anywhere.
כל העוצמה.
On October the 7th, 2023, the Speaker of the Knesset tweeted that, quote, now we all have...
Are they supposed to go to these zones? Okay. But then I always hear and feel that if you go to these zones, it's very clumped up, it's very fucked up and shit.
One common goal, erasing the Gaza Strip from the face of the earth.
אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם, ואנחנו נוהגים בהתאם.
That's what we just talked about this in the study. Here you could argue in front of a court he is targeting Hamas with that speech.
On 12 October 2023, President Isaac Herzog made clear that Israel was not distinguishing between militants and civilians in Gaza.
This is from a year ago.
Stating in a press conference to foreign media in relation
to Palestine. Imagine there will ever be the Israeli government in Brussels, man. That will be a 2-year case, man. They will have to look at so much stuff, man. Humanitarian zones have been struck almost 100 times. This is very interesting because we also looked, I tried to be centrist, I tried to be open-minded here. We also looked at an Israeli study saying there is no genocide. The Israeli study states only 1.4% of attacks are hitting these humanitarian zones. Now, I don't know how many attacks there are. That will be a very interesting, it's probably very hard to have that number, man. Super hard to determine that. How do you verify that, right? How the fuck do you verify that? That's what Israel says. Only 1.4% attack hits these zones accidentally. But how do you verify that? It's super hard, man.
Palestinians in Gaza over one...
Can't be centrist when it comes to genocide. In my opinion, in my personal opinion, it's important to not try to be too emotional. If you're too emotional, you just become insane and go to Twitter and say, all Jews shall die, all Palestinians shall die, blah, blah, blah. You gotta look at everything and come to a good conclusion, man. And for me personally, this is where I'm gonna say something personal, I come to the conclusion that Israel is going too far. There is genocidal tendencies. It looks like it. I'm not fucking the UN expert, man. But then again, I feel like, what's the consequence? Even if I'm right, okay, there's a genocide. Okay, what now? Nothing's gonna fucking happen.
Million of whom are children.
That's what's so scary.
Quote, it's an entire nation out there that is responsible.
We just read all this.
It's not true, this rhetoric about civilians not aware, not involved. It's absolutely not true. And we will fight until we break their backbone.
To create such a huge pressure on Gaza, that Gaza will become an area where...
The problem is, I think politicians like Trump can't do anything, because if you will be anti-Israel here, the Mossad would release videos of you fucking kids, you know? I think that's the issue, man.
People cannot live.
אנחנו הולמים באויבינו בעוצמה חסרת תקדים.
אנחנו עכשיו מגלגלים בעצם את נכבת עזה, אם תרצה, נכבת עזה.
Long story short, okay, we just read this in the paper. This is just what they said in the paper.
In the Middle and in the West, where about maybe 700, 800,000 people are stuck in this area. They don't have...
What would I do? It's hard. I'm just a fucking dumbass streamer, man. I think you will have to make a deal with Israel that, okay, we're not going to fuck with Israel because nobody fucks with them. But we need to establish a port with international ships that allow to bring Gazan refugees into other countries. You have to allow this, Israel, or we're gonna fucking do nothing. We're gonna, what's it called? Sanction you and stuff like that. Something like that.
Of money to pay for the...
Who will take them? Well, I'm gonna be insane now. I'm gonna make a lot of enemies in chat. We have a big demographic issue in Europe. Europe is running out of people. And I believe that the European Union, I'm going to have a lot of enemies now, man. You guys will hate me for this. I think that the entire European Union, if they will get their shit together, could make a good plan how to spread them and help them. Unfortunately, I'm wrong here. It will just lead to the right-wing parties getting more votes. I will get kicked out of office and the Nazis take over. So I think I'm probably wrong. But I still stand with this notion that I have in my soul that we should be better than this. We shouldn't just leave them to die. We should be better than this. We should, in a perfect world that we don't have, we should be able to handle this pressure of Gazan refugees in Europe. Which I think we're not handling. We see that nowadays, right? I guess I'm wrong. Or maybe then a different notion is you have to allow a port where we can bring humanitarian aid and stuff like that. You have to allow this or we sanction you or something. And if you ever fuck with this port, we're gonna have a problem. I don't know. Even the Arabs don't want them. I never understand that. Explain that to me. Why is Egypt not opening? Don't you want to help your Muslim brothers? Aren't all you Muslims like super close and love each other? Why is Egypt not letting them in? I don't understand that. Because of 2012, what happened there? What happened? Arabs are never united. But then Israel wins by ethnically cleansing them. Well, first of all, you gotta save these people that are in trouble. They have to be in safety, man. Egypt already have a massive problem with immigration. They are under economic and political turmoil. Why do we think that Egypt is gonna take even more refugees after they already took so many? Also, they can't distinguish between a Hamas terrorist and a civilian. Yeah, but if you're a Muslim country, don't you like, hey, what's up, Hamas? I like you, buddy. Let's kill the Jews. Aren't they like friends? Most of the Arab nations are Western aligned, and allied with Israel, they don't really care about Palestinians. Jordan and Lebanon took them in once, and a civil war started. We're in Warhammer 3K. Huh. Black September happened in Jordan. What a fucked up situation for Palestinians, man. You have like, what do you do? Was armed conflict in Jordan and the Palestine Liberation Organization led by Yasser Arafat. Oh, the main face of the fighting. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Oh man, what a hopeless situation, man. Long story short, Egypt is already mega unstable. Okay.
displacement, which cost over £1,000 for a car
what a fucked up situation.
Take you to the south, where many people want to leave what they describe as the hell in Gaza, but they don't have the money to do it, and there is only one road that allow you to flee south.
Okay, what's going on? One sec. I think I have a guy to call out. I love that. So you want EU to keep funding and supporting Israel and then take it all out on the Arabs, cleansing them? What the fuck is this logic? When did I ever say that? I'm sitting here the whole time saying, looking for solutions, what we could do to help. What are you fucking talking about? You fucking moron? You goddamn moron, buddy, man. Holy shit.
Which is
you
the
American?
coastal road, and it's dumpy, dusty, small road.
Why don't stop Israel? No one is going to stop Israel. No one is doing anything.
I spoke to a family yesterday. It cost them about $1,000.
Everybody is laying on their back like a fucking
for them
beetle.
To move about 14 kilometers from Gaza to the middle. So it's a real hell in Gaza. This report is significant for the people of Gaza. It's significant. They have been talking for a very long time that what is going on in Gaza is a genocide in the official level. The Palestinian Authority.
I want to make something clear. I want to stand for something. As my channel becomes more political now, and we talk about these things more often, there's, in my opinion, again I might be wrong, there is a technique of debate that I think is childish, dumb, stupid, and counterproductive. And that is, will you do it, Tommy? Will you leave Leipzig? Will you fight the Russians, man? I like to stay with realism, the real world. I don't like this kind of stuff. Will you take in a Palestinian refugee? We live in a society. I live in Germany with 82 million people, man, where a society comes together and can figure something out. Doesn't mean someone has to sleep on your couch. It's fucking terrible arguing, man.
Genocide.
Many
of
the
the Arab
world.
leaders and Muslim leaders call this a genocide. But what the people want in Gaza is this killing to be stopped.
And Rushdie, we know that Israel
If you put your dick into the antle of politics, you will see the true colors of society. Well, the view count is nice though. 1K viewers, man, on 3 p.m. People love this shit. I want to grow the channel. And honestly, I feel good lately. I don't feel toxic about this. I feel kind of calm. I feel like lately I can handle all the retardation chat. You wouldn't believe the comments I get on Discord. The people are texting me the dumbest fucking shit. But I'm kind of cool now.
This report, calling it a fake report. What is likely to be its effect?
Great question. That's what I'm asking the whole stream. What happens?
Well, Israel reject that they are killing civilians. Israel reject that they have committed, famine in Gaza.
Do you accept debates with anyone? I have to be careful with the future here with debates. I can't just always let a random non-sub I've never seen before debate me. I think it really is weird for the stream. I have shown before that I like to debate people. I will do it again, but it has to be in a good setting. The problem is every time I choose, let's be fucking real for 1 second. Be honest with me, chat. Every time I debate someone on stream, it's the most retarded shit ever. We had the Canadian kid, which was straight up fucking a Nazi or some shit. We had the piss called Dixon guy who talked something about the Chechnya war and just didn't have much going on there. It was just not very good, man. And if I allow every single random guy that I never saw before to debate, we're not gonna really go ahead much, man.
We used to see people dying from hunger every day, and until now there is no food stability in Gaza. There are people still dying.
The next 100 gifted, I will debate you for 10 minutes.
From hunger, and Israel denied it. The amount of kids and women killed in this war, the number of journalists killed in this war, is indication that Israel is committing genocide.
But she was asking you what the consequences.
This report. This is very important for the people of Gaza. They appreciate it as they appreciate the report about famine. But what they want is that they want international pressure to stop what's going on in Gaza. Last night, in central Gaza, almost the heart of Gaza, there was
master graduate. Let's fight. I don't think a uni degree makes you good at understanding the world.
Killing about 6 people overnight.
Thank you, Steve. I think what university actually does, it helps you work with sources. That's what you learn at uni. What a source is and how to work with it. Thank you, Steve.
Daily killing. Every day, at least 100 people killed. Most of them are women and children. People believe that they...
I'm just doing weird stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. Since the Israel-Gaza war started, do we have data? What ratio of Palestinian deaths are men, are children, and are
4
women.
years already feel Solomon.
I mean, how would you know that? That's probably very hard to do. And then people will probably argue Hamas has fake numbers. It's difficult to give the ratio, obviously, but because different sources use different methodologies and many deaths are not fully verified. Here are some findings by the UN Human Rights Office in Report of Verified Deaths. Up until September 2024, which is a year ago, gentlemen, 8,000 people died. 70% of those were killed women and children. Wow. Now, if that number is true, that's fucked up. You're not... Whoa, that's not good. Thank you, Deagle. Among these children, women specifically, blah, blah, blah. A peer review in The Lancet for traumatic injuries, also a year ago, they say 6% is women, children, and elderly. The Gaza Health Ministry, people always say that's Hamas bullshit, says even 54%, even lower. Not all these deaths can be verified. Definition of child and elderly is always hard to do. Combatants have to be taken care of in this report. Also underreported, inaccessible areas, temporal change. It looks like with the data available, over 55% is not men. So hard in this world to get good data on anything, right? You kind of got to work with what you have. What are you going to do, man? Thank you, Badurs. Can we distinguish combatant versus civilian? Also hard, man. Probably some civilians are pro-Hamas, but they count as civilians. It's so hard, man, to really get good data. Thank you, Vink. Thank you, buddy. It's very hard to do. Again, Gaza Health Ministry. It's very difficult to say. That's the problem. It's probably impossible to say.
They already punished Hamas for the 7th of October. They
promise almost everyone in Gaza is a kid. Well, you would still think the person with a gun in their hand and the fighter jet in the air, it's kind of their responsibility to try to not hit under 18-year-olds. Kinda. She'll try that, but again. Go down to USS Liberty. Shut up. I dare you to subscribe and shut your mouth.
All of its leaders, whether they are military or, you know, political, even in Qatar. But what's going on is beyond...
Israel's data? Send me a link, Bokwin. Send me a link. Show me Israel's data. You're saying even Israel's data shows much, much more civilian deaths, which would help our anti-Israel government, a genocidal government, a war crime, not government, argument, sorry. Israelis military's data says 83% civilian deaths. Why would you fuck yourself in the ass like that if you're Israel? Isn't that dumb to release? Classified, we deleted. 9,000 deaths. 53,000 deaths overall. Figures from classification, blah, blah, blah. As of May 19th, this is a while ago, chat. It's much more now. 9,000 named fighters of Hamas and other shit have died. But 53,000 Palestinians had been killed. According to health authorities in Gaza, a toll that included combatants, civilians, blah, 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 which would indicate that 83% of deaths are civilians. That apparent ratio of civilians and combatants among the dead is extremely high for modern warfare, even compared with conflicts notorious like Syria and Sudan. Why would Israel release that? It must have been leaked. What? Named fighters, but yeah, that's only 9,000 named fighters. Estimated civilian death rate in certain conflicts. Yeah. And I think, yeah, this is considered a real genocide. This is a real genocide. I think this and this, these are all really, no one doubts that they're legit genocides. Alter, 99.8%. That is some evil fucking shit, man. Holy fuck, dude. Many genocide scholars, lawyers, and human rights activists, including Israeli academics and campaign groups, say Israel's committing, even Israelis, committing genocide in Gaza, citing the mass killing. I'm kind of coming to a conclusion here on TommyKay News that we have a genocide here. The question is just, what do we do with that? Right? But it looks like the logical assessment is that there is genocidal tendencies, up to full-blown genocide. Israel military did not dispute this existence of this database. What's their counter? When the Guardian asked, they decided to rephrase. A brief statement sent to the Guardian did not directly address these questions. It said figures present in the article are incorrect, without specifying what is incorrect. It also said the numbers do not reflect the data we have in the IDF system. A spokesperson also did not immediately respond. Looks like they were kind of hit by this leak, man. The data just looks like...
Love that you're covering the news and facts, not just anecdotes. It's important to look into the facts.
Thank you, man. I think I want to represent that on Twitch a bit. I will fail a lot. My dear chat, I will fail a lot. You guys have to always tell me when something is wrong. But the data I try to look at here, it looks not so good for Israel. But again, my main feeling is always, what the fuck does Israel care? Oh, TommyKay says I do a genocide. Oh no, TommyKay. Oh no. Like, what? It doesn't really matter.
The self-defense, as Israel all the time say.
Rushdie, thank you very much. Rushdie Abu
Alter
Gaza
Wanda, 99.8% civilian deaths.
Istanbul, reporting
Mashallah,
live.
what
Now,
the
in the
fuck?
last few minutes, the Israeli ambassador to the UN in Geneva has given this reaction to that UN report.
Israel categorically rejects the libelous rant published today by this Commission of Inquiry.
That's not very... Again, I always use the word adult. It's a rant. These lawyers, clearly, we saw the paper, put a lot of fucking work into this. You will probably have to try to academically counter this stuff, but just acting like it's a rant, that's not a very good response.
It spreads the malicious genocide narrative. The report diverges from the mandate of the Commission, yet again stressing their biased analysis. Since its inception, the modus operandi of the Commission...
One sec. Civilians are always the biggest loser in war, huh? They always get fucked the most. It's always civilians.
It's clear. Facts are malleable. Sources are selective. And divisive terminology is...
And once again, what we did here today is we took one excerpt of the UN report of genocidal rhetoric of Israeli officials, which we found there is some. That's not just yappy, bappy, bappy. This just happened a few minutes ago. One sec.
...employed to exacerbate and polarize the conflict. Since its inception...
Mostly in the last hour of the stream, I'm mostly shocked that Netanyahu will write a letter to soldiers quoting that they kill all the children and women.
It has systematically dismissed Hamas's atrocities. Throughout the 72 pages of this paper that the COI presented, the COI promotes a narrative serving Hamas and its supporters in attempting to delegitimize and demonize the state of Israel. The report falsely accuses Israel of genocidal intent and...
Which we in just excerpt just saw. I mean, everyone chat saw it.
...allegation it cannot...
Oh, my kid is so one sec. Hey, Mäuschen, ich hab dich weinen hören. Alles okay? Hey, mein Spaß.
Papa, wir haben keine Schokolade leider.
Das ist okay. Solange du da bist, geht's mir gut. Hm? Hast du ein bisschen Husten? Ja. Ich hab euch weinen hören da draußen. Nee, hat so geklungen wie Aaron. Hier auf dem Spielplatz. Nee? Okay, dann hat es voll geklungen wie Aaron. Habt ihr ein schönes gemacht? Schön, mein Spaß.
Geklaut?
Ihr habt geklaut? Was habt ihr geklaut?
Bei DM.
Was denn?
Eine Badebombe.
Hast du die versteckt?
Na. Wir haben es einfach komplett vergessen.
Oh.
Er hatte so einen Snack in der Hand und die Badebombe hatte er so neben sich.
He stole stuff in the grocery store chat. Romanian.
Das war richtig viel Zeug und dann habe ich...
Okay.
Also 17 Uhr. Oh, guck mal,
17 Uhr? Okay.
mit.
Okay. Okay.
Dann mal auch mit.
Okay. Mach dir bitte die Tür zu, no hate, aber sonst bin ich am Arsch. Okay, stream is 90 more minutes. I have to quit earlier because of family stuff. 90 minutes, let's go.
...substantiate and even by its cherry-picked data.
I'm wondering if someone here can help us understand what exactly is the war goal here. When is the war won? Thank you for 300 bits.
That coming in just in the last few minutes, that response from Israel, and let's go to...
That response was a lot of whatever,
Israel
man.
Now, speak to Middle correspondent Yolande Nell, who's in Jerusalem. Yolande, as expected, a categorical rejection from Israel of this report.
That's right, and it's just coming at this key moment where Israel has been looking, increasingly...
Oh, one second. I have this problem that at jiu-jitsu I get choked a shit ton. They choke my neck a lot. And I had an internal bleeding here. And I was really fucked up and it healed. But today we had a whole session of just guillotines. I was getting choked for 40 minutes, man. Make an update on this video.
What year is your...
What is this? Well, it's probably going to be very easy. Israel or Palestine? Israel. Well, but I'm totally fine with that because that was probably during that time, 4 years ago even, and things have changed. I fully stand behind this. Kind of.
What year is your heavy?
Kind of weak from you, in my opinion. Back then, and I was wrong. I was wrong, 100%.
Isolated. We had the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu acknowledging that
today I beat my rival, man. I was very happy
saying
about
that this was economically affecting the country. He said it would need to become more self-reliant as a result. Increasingly, what Israel is seeing from many of its allies is a threat of arms embargoes, threats of new sanctions. The Prime Minister said that it would have to start Israel producing...
Why can't you be pro-Israel and pro-Palestine? I feel like that's what I personally am doing. I talk about this on the stream all the time. I think the leaderships are the issue. It looks like the government of Israel is fucked up and genocidal. Hamas is fucked up. It's the leaderships that are the problem. I think most civilians are, hopefully, kind of normal people that don't want to fucking kill people all the time. Are you for a two-state solution? I have no fucking idea. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I think the ultimate goal has to be to, which will not happen, is that an international community somehow stops the killing, somehow stops the dying of innocent people, man. But I have no solution. I have no fucking idea, man. I don't know. I would like to just hold people accountable if they do something evil, both sides.
Weapons in Israel. This is
But
all
that's not how
caused
the
a
world
drop
works.
on the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange.
Yes. On Friday, I will have a 17-hour stream. We're going to start Star Wars, the Old Republic, MMO Community Guild. You guys are all invited. Thank you, Mayway. And during that stream, we will collect donations. On Friday, I will collect donations for 17 hours. Every donation will not go to civilians or anything. It will go to a certain, I will explain that all later, brigade in the Ukrainian army that needs money to buy more fiber optics, if they still want to talk to me. But this money will go to the Ukrainian army, not civilians. We're gonna support the Ukrainian army on the stream. If you guys want to donate, that happens on Friday. Thank you, Caster of Breath. Thank you.
Morning. But, you know, in the face of all of that...
I felt like it's time to do something again. I'm sitting here for fucking 3 years, just yappy, but I don't do jack shit. Thank you, Tonics. Thank you. I think it sucks when you just sit here, and I have a nice life. My life is so easy, and the Ukrainians are fighting their ass off for our freedom, and we're just sitting here like a bunch of bitches, and it's time to fucking at least do something. Little something, man. What time on Friday? Very, very early, because 70 hours is going to be very hard for me.
We just had this important visit from the US Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. He left the country a short time ago. He was seen giving lots of embraces to the Israeli Prime Minister during his trip here. And in the face of all this global condemnation of the expansion of Israel's operation in Gaza City because of the deep humanitarian consequences, the US does seem to be giving its backing for that, although there are some suggestions that it wants this to be over quickly. Israel sees Gaza City as being one of the last remaining strongholds of Hamas. And when he was here, Marco Rubio was really sort of casting some doubt on whether diplomacy can work in securing a ceasefire and hostage release deal. But then he spoke a bit differently as he was heading off to Qatar. He was on the tarmac when he said to journalists that there was...
I don't know you. Build a reputation on the stream. I've never seen you before. Who are you? You followed this? I've never seen you before. You have 200 messages. I don't know you, bro.
Still, what he described as a very short window of time in which a deal could happen, saying that could be days, maybe a few weeks.
And Yolande, this report doesn't just name Israel as a state. It talks about 3 individuals, the President, Isaac Herzog, the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, and the former Defense Minister, Yoav Gallant, as individuals. What does it mean for those?
Well, already the Israeli Prime Minister is facing these charges at the International Criminal Court of war crimes.
Imagine you have a court. Imagine you have a country and you have a court. Someone killed someone, okay? Someone committed a murder. But this person never gets to court because he's too far away. It kind of destroys the reasoning of a court existing, right? That's the problem with Den Haag. With the UN, man. You're not going to get a Putin in front of that shit. You're not going to get a fucking Netanyahu in front of there. They did it with the Bosnians or something, right? What are they called? But...
rejects and Yoav Gallant too. What is new is to have Isaac Herzog.
In German, it's called Den Haag. In German, I'm sorry. In English, it's something else.
Implicated here, the Israeli president, who generally is seen as having...
The thing is, you have no police to enforce it. Yeah, you have no executive. You would need an international police or some shit. What are you gonna do? You're gonna send Interpol to get Netanyahu, man?
A kind of figurehead role in the country, but we have seen Isaac Herzog being an important diplomat. In just the past week, he was in the UK where he met the British Prime Minister.
We need international Mossad.
We're yet to hear a comment from him, but Israel refutes all of these allegations. In general, what it says is that it is fighting a war which is about its own existence, that Hamas is a threat to its own existence. And that remains the case with what's happening in Gaza. We had the Israeli Defense Minister, Israel Katz, doubling down this morning. He said after what happened overnight that Gaza is on fire. He said the IDF strikes with an iron fist at the terrorist infrastructure. We will not relent or turn back until the mission is completed.
Yolande, thank you very much. Yolande Nell in Jerusalem.
This topic is so draining. It's like it's so hopeless. You can't really find a solution. Like with Ukraine and Russia, I come to a solution. Fuck Russia. Putin needs to fucking die. I come to that logical solution there. But here is so, what the fuck do you do?
Well, let's speak to Sir Geoffrey Nice, who's a barrister
so tiresome,
and international law expert. Sir Geoffrey, thank you very much for waiting to talk to us. Your reaction, first of all, to...
One day we'll watch my stream and that's me. You're going to watch TommyKay and I'm going to be in a corner like that playing Hearts of Iron 6.
The report's findings.
Well, this is an extremely important report. And it should be remembered that it's detailed. It's built on earlier previous...
And interesting, we just looked at the report, which was very nice here for the stream. I think that it looked really well made. Sources, it looked like no fucking bullshit. And it will probably be a good thing if Israel sits down and debunks it. Like, sits down, hey, this is wrong because blah, blah, blah.
Previous reporting by the Commission, which was detailed and evidence-based.
His name is Sir Nice.
And this final report draws conclusions from all the earlier evidence to establish, first of all, the genocidal intent of the State of Israel through its leaders, and the 4 ways in which that genocidal intent becomes criminal by 4 of the 5 ways in which such intent can become genocide itself. It's detailed. One of the problems that we're all facing is that there's no appetite in governments like ours, for example, to allow the voters, the people who put governments into power, to know detail of allegations and counter-allegations of this kind. So that, for example, not so very long...
That's what I'm talking about. No consequences, yeah. If you could win elections with this stuff, there would be consequences,
long ago,
right?
when he was Foreign Secretary, David Lammy announced that it was not proved that genocide was happening. But he gave no detail of any kind, as far as I know. Nothing like the detail of this report. Now, there is no suggestion that Navi Pillay, an immensely impressive jurist with great experience, or her 2 colleagues, have any reason to be biased or prejudiced. What we need to consider is what they have looked at by way of evidence and the route by which they've reached their conclusions. And so what we are now waiting for is not the reaction of the Israeli government, which was entirely predictable, but for a government like our own to say either, yes, we've looked at this detail, it is persuasive, we accept that this is genocide, we will now act, or, and they can go no less far than this, to say, we respectfully disagree, and for these reasons. And if they do that, then your viewers will be able to hear, just as jurors would, who are quite capable in criminal cases in this country of trying genocide. Your viewers will then be able to hear both sides in detail. But it doesn't suit countries to allow...
Wow, this is super intelligent. This is exactly what I was saying. You will not have that trial. You're not going to have this debate between the 2 sides.
For detail, and we're likely to have a form of megaphone attack and counterattack based on this report in the next few hours and days.
And so, Jeffrey, you talk about the detail in this report. You talk about the lead in this whole commission, Navi Pillay, and previous experience dealing in these very significant international matters of justice.
Can someone Google how many sirs are in the UK? I'm saying 1,883.
About the aiding and assisting of what it describes as genocide, and I wonder what those implications are, regardless of the response of Israel rejecting the report, for Israel's allies, for countries that may sell arms to Israel,
probably
for countries that do business with Israel. What are the implications, practically speaking?
3,000 living nights in the UK. Damn, they give that out like fucking fish sandwiches, bro. 3,000? Easy.
Very serious, and they were highlighted not so very long ago by Albanese, the special rapporteur. If you're a country that provides or allows the provision of weaponry to a country that's committing or suspected of committing genocide, you become complicit in that.
Very intelligent
if you're
man.
the arms supplier, you become complicit in that, and you may be subject not just to the law of the International Criminal Court, which might identify you as somebody requiring an arrest warrant.
Could you ever imagine that? Germany sells weapons to Israel as they're committing genocide, so now Friedrich Merz has to go to Brussels and hand trial? Could you ever imagine that?
But you're also subject to the law of your own land. In our country, we have laws about genocide and other war crimes. So the same report by the special rapporteur also identified...
Are you pro-world government? Yeah, I am pro-world government because it's fictional, though. It's not going to work. If you have a world government, certain things happen. You can trial people. You can be like, hey, Vladimir Putin, you need to stand on trial, man. If you don't, that's not cool. Another thing, I'm reading a book lately. What's the book, blah, 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 long story short. And there's this thing that will never happen. I really understand that. You could massively improve the world if you would have, what the book is suggesting, if you have a global minimum wage. When strong capitalism is outsourcing their work into Bangladesh, India, China, they do that to exploit these people to have cheap labor. If you would have an international minimum wage, you could really fix lots of things. Lisa's cousin is a high-level professor in a law school, and her main topic is Lieferkettengesetz. How to say English? Dude, there's a massive storm. Her main thing is, how do you say Lieferkettengesetz, Germans? What's it called? Laws of supply chains. For example, when you wear a T-shirt in the US, has everyone in the making of that T-shirt where all the human rights be taken care of and stuff like that? You could enforce certain things better with world government. You could also corrupt the stuff more. You could be right, stuff like that. But look at what the world is doing. We don't have a world government, so you can't trial Netanyahu. You can't trial Israel versus Palestine. You can't trial Vladimir Putin, really. You can't do shit. And it's just a big farce. A big, big, big farce. And that's the big issue. That makes the UN so weak. Can't do anything.
Many company.
Also, I would think hashtag TommyKay conspiracy. I would think the elites and owners of this world would not want a world government. They love if it's divided. They love that they can. Imagine you could trial people internationally. That would really not help a lot of corrupt people, man. Right?
That would find themselves vulnerable to prosecution in their own jurisdiction elsewhere. For example, Caterpillar, for providing vehicles that. And
another thing I read about years ago. Imagine you have a world government. Again, this is fictional, blah blah. I don't believe in it. It's not going to happen. And you can actually fuck with tax havens, Cayman Islands, Malta, Liechtenstein. Imagine you can fuck with them. Oh, you have give us the data that German companies are laundering money here and not paying taxes. We have to make a deal about this. They will now be trialed in Germany for tax evasion. Stuff like that.
Destroying the buildings in.
They tried that. The EU is working on it. And we saw a video 2 weeks ago, who destroyed that notion that the EU can, for example, fuck with Google? Donald Trump. He fucked that up. They wanted to work on it. And Trump was like, what's the English word? He was, if you do this, you get in trouble.
Gaza, but also many other countries, right down to social media, and even, as I recall, Airbnb. in providing places for people.
We just said it last week. The EU is finding Google because they broke laws, and Trump is like, if you find Google, I'm gonna give you tariffs. What are we doing? You have like a legal process. You come to a conclusion that Google must be fined, and then Mr. Dictator comes. If you do that, I'm going to tariff you. Like obstruction of justice, man. It's insanity.
To stay to allow the genocide to happen. That perhaps is a slightly unusual one.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. We are out of time, and we must bring it to.
That was very intelligent, man. That was very refreshing to hear. That was just very, very intelligent.
And there, Sir Geoffrey Nice, thank you very much for talking to us.
Very well.
International law expert and barrister. Now, in the next half hour, we're expecting...
He's a barista too. He must make a mad coffee. This just happened a few seconds ago. The Israeli military struck... The Israeli military just struck Yemen's Red Sea port of Hodeidah on Tuesday. Al Jazeera TV, a station affiliated with the Houthi movement, reports. The Houthis are political blah, 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 blah. Okay. Is there like a UA map for Israel? Israel UA map? That must exist. Yeah, this shit is fucking crazy, man. These maps are insane, dude. This is like televised warfare. I'm kind of out of Israel videos. Does anyone have a video about this topic? I kind of now blew all my videos out. US State Department Rubio discussed Washington and Doha's shared commitment to a more secure region. Yeah, but yes, you kiss the government of Israel on the cheek. German foreign minister, we reject Israel's attack on Gaza and consider it wrong. Whoa! Hey, come on. Does anyone on this planet still take this serious? Does anyone still give a shit? Oh, we don't like that you did that. Thoughts and prayers. It's not even worth fucking reporting that anymore. It's like there's a school shooting. Oh, we're all really hurt by this. Oh my God. Oh no. Come on, man. Come on. Ruby is in Doha today, met with the Emir of Qatar. The Israel military has warned it will launch an attack on Yemen's Red Sea port. Oh, so this is not a surprise. Why are they striking the Red Sea port of Yemen? Red Sea port of Yemen. Yemen has a port here? Nah. Oh, Yemen is here. This is Yemen. Ah, here. Why would they strike that port? They just struck that to fuck with the Houthis? Dude, they have still time to kill other people too? Jesus, they're so busy. They're not busy enough with Hamas. They now shoot other people? The Houthis? The fuck? It was retaliation for Houthis launching missiles. The Houthis can launch missiles? 85 killed as a result of Israeli attacks on the Gaza Strip since dawn today, including more than 17 in Gaza City. Okay, I think we're done with Israel now. I think we're done with Israel. What's going on in Damascus again, huh? There was no Israeli shelling or security incident in Damascus. The explosions were just military training. Okay. I think... Here you can look at the Houthi Red Sea crisis. I still have 1 hour left on the stream. Wow, that's... You want to watch 45 minutes of this? I'm kind of out of stuff. I'm done with Israel here. I have 1 hour left. Stream is, again, early today over. Early today. Because of my child.
Still giving this red monkey money for some reason.
I'm the greatest streamer. That's what you love, Spade. Okay, come on. People are sending lots of links. They're probably all fucking shit. Cash Patel is... I don't care about that. I don't give two shits. What do you think about this? It's probably going to be some dumb shit. Palestinian refugees taken in Denmark and they now have criminal records.
Facing war between Israel and Hamas, neighbouring countries Egypt and Jordan have ruled out accepting refugees from the conflict. And a bombshell new report using a case study from Denmark, just released by Nigel Farage on his GB News.
Yeah, the first thing you should always do is this, right? Wow, this is way too bright. Nothing too crazy though. Chat goes like their propaganda.
Shows that the Prime Minister may be best advised to do the same. Have a watch of this.
In 1992, Denmark gave refuge to 320.
Is there data showing that Palestinian refugees taken in by Denmark in early 90s, now have a criminal record that have and I'm phrasing it wrong. There are 100% refugees taken by Denmark in the early 90s are by 62%. I'm phrasing this wrong, but I just wanted to look for data that are by people with a criminal record. I need a source, please.
21 Palestinians.
Of the 321 who were given asylum in 2070, very small number by the way, 270 are still residing in Denmark, meaning the rest either left or are dead. Of the 321, 64 have received a serious fine or jail time. One thing important, I don't know if it applies, but there's a thing in Germany where they tell you that refugees are super evil and crimeful, but if you for example have a parking ticket or you drive the tram without the right ticket, you already can be in that statistic. Gotta be careful of that. Having reviewed a serious fine or jail time, with 71 of them being given jail time, definition is a fine 1,500 DKK. Traffic law excluded, that's important. A very large proportion of them are receiving some kind of welfare. Of the 999 children, so far 34 are convicted for serious... Oh, wow. They tripled, man. They tripled, man. Are convicted for serious crimes. Okay. Where's this from?
2019, the government produced results for what had happened to them.
Short answer, yes. Denmark's government published... The government published that 2/3 of the 321 stateless Palestinians... in 1992 are convicted of an offense by 2019. A 2020 written answer of the Danish Ministry of Immigration and Integration Parliament reports that 204 of 321 individuals had at least one conviction, 63%. It breaks this down as 38 unconditional prison sentences, 33 conditional prison sentences, 133 fines, and other traffic fines under one. How much money is that? 1.5k. If it's 50 euros, it's ridiculous. 200. Okay, that's pretty heavy. That's a lot. But then again, I just want to always be centrist. This is not good. Totally a point. But if you have a fine for 200 euros, doesn't mean you're a fucking rapist that stabs people with a knife, man. But still interesting, yeah? Interesting. You have to also talk about, I'm going to be left-wing here, about socioeconomic reasons. If these people have a hard time and stuff, really integrating. But obviously, yeah, not so good. But you gotta always be careful with that. Oh, I just deleted it. Fuck, now it's gone. Shit.
But it's okay.
I mean, I have, since 1992, I have far over 200 euros in traffic fines, man. That's for sure, man. That is for sure.
She slipped through my fingers like sand. Heard that she had a man. Now I'm just sitting here sad. Oh well, ship sail. She slipped through my fingers like sand.